So today I will focus mainly on how we have tried to measure learning in different ways. We have, of course, we've done the obvious. We have let people take diagnostic tests where they answer questions. We asked them themselves whether they thought that they learned anything and what they think they have learned. But we've also tried to isolate behavioral variables and tried to create situations where we can manipulate these variables to see if we can track and trace learning in terms of actual behavioral change. And that's really a huge challenge. So that's essentially what this the studies in the driving simulator are about. They are about trying to isolate traffic variables and see whether we can make people actually change behavior with respect to these variables. So the project itself, this is one of the first things actually that we started with. And I told you a little bit about it yesterday, and I think that everyone of you were here yesterday, so I don't have to show the film clip again maybe, so you know how the simulator works and all that. The project anyway has been financed, and that's a bit interesting, has been financed by one of the major Swedish insurance companies. Okay, the traffic variables. We communicated with researchers in traffic safety research to see which variables were the most important to track. So obviously speed is the number one variable, because it's a well-known fact that with the higher the speed, the harder the crash, and so that's the number one variable that traffic researchers typically tend to look at. So the general idea is that if we can reduce speed, that is good for traffic safety. I think kind of fun. We did this together with psychologists from Lund University, and in particular we worked together with a guy who is interested in something called self-efficacy. Now, I have never heard about this before, but when I heard about it, it really made sense, and I think it goes a lot into, for example, sports and psychology. Now, self-efficacy is in which way a person's belief in how he or she will succeed in doing a task actually has an effect on the success in that particular task. So there are people who have high self-efficacy, of course. Those are the ones who think that, okay, I can manage anything, I will always be able to be on top, so to say. And then you have those who have very low self-efficacy, who never think that they can do anything. Okay, so they're always kind of negative about what the results will be. And that's fair enough. In traffic, however, there's a problem when you have a person with very high self-efficacy and but who is actually very poor at the actual task. That's a major problem in traffic, of course. And those are presumably the ones who cause a lot of accidents, because they think they're good drivers, but in fact they are very poor drivers. And then you have people, the other way around, who are very, very careful, who think that they are not as good at this, but they are actually, in terms of performance, very good. Okay, so what happened to the subject's perception of their own abilities? That's the first question. So you can see that it was actually possible to affect the self-efficacy. So this is for the experiment group. So they were actually boosted. So that's on the positive side. That okay, if by introducing this sort of feedback, you can actually boost the self-efficacy measurements. Okay, so let's see, I'm getting lost here. Keeping speed, same thing happened there. Distance, same thing happened there. And a mean score overall, same thing happened there. But what about the actual results, the behavioral measurements? So, did high self-efficacy always match a good result? This is where we ended up again in slight disappointment. So we could see that overall high self-efficacy could actually boost the learning effect. But as you can see on lane change behavior, the experiment group actually had a lower proportion, whereas on speed, they actually had a higher portion, and speed and head rate distance combined, like that. Okay. I think that I will just very quickly go through some of the things from this Testament game, what is the Church of Sweden game. I will do it very quickly because I want to get to the other part. As we said yesterday, the client was Church of Sweden, and the objective was to convey the stories, tell the stories of the Old Testament in an interactive and appealing way to teenagers. Anyway, there are some lessons to be learned from this project. The development team, they struggled very hard to stay true to the genre of action role-playing games. And they spend much effort on convincing the church that this is the only way it can be done, because otherwise it won't be a game. And there was actually a quite high buy-in for that from the church. Because, interestingly enough, when the church first contacted the university, they said that, okay, we want a game about the Old Testament, and we want it to look like Diablo 2. So they had some sense of what they wanted anyway. When it comes to designing serious games, you actually don't have to be very innovative in terms of game design. Because if you look at the entertainment side of gaming, there is so much. There's so much knowledge. There's so much patterns available already that you don't have to reinvent them. So it's better to worry about the learning goals and maybe try to copy ideas from successful commercial games and hope for the entertainment value or the engagement to stick onto it.